All right, everybody, welcome back to this 13 News Now Weather Plus. I've got a deeper dive into the weather, and what an exciting time this is. I love this time of year. We are getting ready for Thanksgiving, and a lot of folks, today's getaway day. And again, you might be wondering, what's the weather like around the country and across the region? We've got your Thanksgiving weather update coming up. We're going to take a look at a trend that is still on target. We're looking at a big cool down coming up for the Eastern U.S. as we look out over the coming weekend and beyond that. And then I've gone ahead and put together a little update for you on the 2024-2025 winter weather outlook. We're talking about the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks for December, January, and February. I'll let you know what's driving that and how it looks like it's going to play out. Meteorological winter starts December 1st, and that'll be Sunday. And then again, it's that 3-month outlook. So we're going to dive into all of that. Before we get started, let me tell you, my name is Craig Moeller. I am a meteorologist. I've been doing this for decades, and I work from 13 News Now, which is located in Southeast Virginia. And I serve not only the southeast part of the Commonwealth, but Northeast North Carolina as well. So Virginia Beach, Norfolk, you'll hear us talk a lot about some of those cities, and down into North Carolina, the Outer Banks. We've got all of that covered. We're going to start off with Thanksgiving weather and the weather update. You know, there's a storm system that is likely to produce some snow for the Northeast U.S., and I want to start with that. So we'll take a look. Our first up, Thanksgiving holiday weather. And let's take a look at the map here. I'm going to walk over to the big board and show you what we're looking at. Satellite and radar images at 10:30 on Wednesday morning. Rain showers across parts of West Virginia into Kentucky. Nothing real heavy there, but travel a little bit wet there along parts of Interstate 64. You can see back not only through West Virginia, but Kentucky as well as you head over towards Louisville, Kentucky. They've got some wet weather there. Southern parts of Indiana dealing with showers through southern Illinois and back towards Missouri. Northern tier of Missouri, just south of the Iowa state line there. They've got some snow showers trying to mix in. A little bit of mixed precipitation across northern Kansas and some snow showers back to Denver. I've been mentioning throughout the week, again, for Hampton Roads and this part of the country, the mid-Atlantic, things look good for today, the getaway day, but this storm system is going to take shape and really fire up as it moves to the east-northeast. So snow for parts of the northeast. I'll show you that in a moment. Things also pretty quiet right now out on the west coast and down across the southern U.S. Let's take a look at this developing storm system and what it's forecast to do as we go through the middle part of the day. Again, it's going to start to produce more of this wet weather across northern parts of the Ohio River Valley, back through the mid-Mississippi Valley. It's going to continue tracking off to the east and to the east-northeast. And while it's not a bad travel day today and through the afternoon, up and down the eastern seaboard, as we go through Wednesday night into Thursday, this system starts to get more and more robust. And you can see cold enough air mixing in through the overnight. This is midnight tonight into early Thursday morning. Snow showers likely across parts of Indiana, snow developing from much of Ohio up into northern Pennsylvania and New York State. Let's continue to run this out as we go into our Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning. Snow widespread across central parts of Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania, still snowing back on the cold side of the storm system across Ohio, and now that snow's starting to spread northward into New York State. Still mainly showers across the areas in New Jersey and closer to the coast, New York City. Rain showers early Thursday morning. Same deal for southeast Pennsylvania, and rain showers back down to the south. West Virginia down into central parts of Virginia and North Carolina. Maybe a few thunderstorms. Could possibly see a couple of stronger storms down in the deep south. That storm system will continue to spread off to the east-northeast. More snow now for New York State, much of northern and western parts of Pennsylvania, and snow up into Vermont and New Hampshire as well, with some mixed wintry precipitation pushing closer to the coast there, southern Maine, parts of Massachusetts, and then rain mainly for Cape Cod, back through Rhode Island and Connecticut. That's at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. Notice things very quiet now back in the central U.S., most of the south okay, although a few stray storms still possible down across parts of the southeast U.S. So that's 8 o'clock Thursday morning. As we take you through midday and into the early afternoon, the rain pushes up. We deal with showers, maybe a rumble or two of thunder across eastern North Carolina. We're going to see clearing later in the day for Hampton Roads and for much of Virginia and North Carolina. But folks up in the Northeast, they're going to deal with more snow later in the day, Thursday and into Thursday night across Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. You can see that system moving along. The front clears our area, and then colder air starts to move in. And you can see evidence of this if you have a trained eye and you're looking at these projections here with this model. You go, okay, well, I see the clearing, but notice some of these clouds kind of setting up in this direction, some of these snow bands kind of showing that northwest flow. So this is colder air here. And in fact, you're looking at the model projecting some bands of lake effect snow coming off the Great Lakes. We'll talk more about snowfall projections here in just a moment. But the snow continues up across Vermont, New Hampshire. This is Thursday afternoon and into Thursday evening. You can see it's going to be messy up there. As we get into early Friday, cooler weather settles in for the eastern part of the country, and that snow will eventually wind down, but it continues up into Maine into early Friday. And then we watch for those lake effect snow bands to come off Lake Erie and parts of Lake Ontario, up around Huron and Lake Michigan. Could be an interesting situation to monitor there as we get into the weekend. All right, you take a look at the snowfall projections, and this is one model, the graph model in the snowfall projection, and you can see some color here. I didn't want to put up because it's such a wide variety here, such a wide range. But you look at our legend up to the north, and these darker areas of blue, you're talking 3 to 6 inches of snow in many locations, 6 to 12 inches for some spots in northern parts of Pennsylvania into eastern New York State. There could be some locally higher amounts. Parts of southern Vermont and New Hampshire in here, these darkest blues, again, 6 to 12 inches of snow. So significant snow for some of these areas. And as you look back towards the westernmost part of the upper peninsula of Michigan here, I mentioned the lake effect snow. This is just over the next 48 hours. There's some areas showing up in kind of this purple or magenta color indicating 12 to 18 inches of snow, potentially, if this model's correct. You'll also notice those lake effect snows adding up 1 to 3, maybe 3 to 6 inches, or even 6 to 12 in some parts of Michigan coming off of Lake Michigan there, and then off Lake Superior in the upper peninsula of Michigan, some heavy snow. Back across western parts of New York, I think Buffalo, you can see some snow there. You're going to be watching again for this lake effect to kick in. So that's what's happening with the Thanksgiving Day snowstorm for the Northeast, at least parts of the area seeing some heavier snow. In general, Thanksgiving looking a little stormy for parts of the Southeast, some rain showers here in Hampton Roads, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. Up in New York City, rain in Boston, but just inland, as I showed you tomorrow, that's snow. So as you travel farther north across New York State and into New England, you will find some snow as well. Cleveland, showers possible. Warm, mostly sunny in Orlando. What a Thanksgiving. 83 degrees there. 71 in New Orleans, looking good. Central U.S. for Thanksgiving, looking good, but chilly in Chicago, partly cloudy. 36 there. Minneapolis, 25 degrees. 51 in Dallas, 64 in Houston. So cooler, but generally pretty nice in the central U.S. Looking out to the west, temperatures near 60 in San Francisco, 68 in L.A., partly cloudy. Phoenix, 75, beautiful in Phoenix. Denver's going to be chilly, sunshine, 35 and 39 in Salt Lake City, maybe a little more spotty precipitation across the Pacific Northwest. That's a look at our Thanksgiving. Now, the travel forecast, because it's not just about Thanksgiving, it's about the coming weekend. A lot of folks heading out and maybe heading back. These are the areas where there's currently reported snow on the ground, and you can see heavy snow over the mountains there in California. You get into the Sierras, you get into the Wasatch Range. The Rockies have seen a lot of snow extending up. Think about places up around Jackson Hole, the Grand Tetons, up into Idaho and Montana. Beautiful there, and up into parts of Washington and Oregon. A lot of snow on those highest elevations. Nothing going on across the Southeast right now. In the Northeast, we do have a little bit of snow over some of the higher elevations and more to come, as I just showed you. All right, we'll take a look at the radar and again get into the travel situation. This is our developing storm system. You see how that's going to move along. So we deal with this on Thursday. Things looking good, as I just showed you, across most of the central and western U.S. for Thanksgiving. Now let's get into Friday. A lot of folks probably staying at their destinations over the weekend. Friday looking good. Again, in the central U.S., we'll be watching for lake effect snow to linger on Friday, coming off the Great Lakes region. Things will be quieter here in Hampton Roads and for much of the mid-Atlantic region. Southeast, maybe some showers working across North Florida there with that frontal boundary as it sags south. So I do think there'll be some wet weather down across parts of Florida. Most of the western U.S. getting a much-needed break as high pressure dominates that part of the country, and California finally gets a break from that atmospheric river with all the wet weather they've been dealing with. Saturday not looking too bad. Little clipper system kind of drops in with a little bit of snow, potentially a little unsettled weather, quickly moving through parts of the Ohio River Valley, but it kind of fizzles out. I think Monday, Sunday to Monday, another big travel period as folks are coming back. Things are looking pretty quiet for most of the country. There will be wet weather across South Texas. Still some lake effect snow potentially coming around the Great Lakes as that cold air continues. And this is a sign of things to come, this colder weather settling in for the eastern U.S. This is one of the things we've been talking about. Now, travel weather today. Again, a getaway day. We talked about travel weather for the upcoming week. I just want to give some specifics to folks here in Hampton Roads that may be traveling down to the south. It looks good. We're dry today. Beautiful, really, down to the south and off to the north. Tomorrow's a day that we're going to deal with the chances for the wet weather, so we're going to be watching for that. All right, our next topic. How about the cooler weather heading east? Now, I touched on this yesterday, but all signs are still pointing towards this outbreak of much colder air, some of the coldest air. It will be the coldest air we've seen so far this season, and I know we're just starting to transition from fall into winter with the turning of the calendar page from November to December this weekend. But you can see again, I love this graphic. I showed this before, the futurecast temperatures with that colder air plunging to the south and to the southeast while we're enjoying very comfortable conditions today and again tomorrow. Temperatures getting up into the 60s along the mid-Atlantic. This colder air is set to come in, and by Friday it will be significantly cooler. I expect highs to stay in the low 50s here on Friday. You'll notice parts of North Dakota and down into western Minnesota, northeast South Dakota, single digits for some folks. Sioux Falls getting up to about 20 degrees or so, 26 in Chicago. Some really cold temperatures there, and this cold air plunges and kind of stays in our area as we go into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and beyond that as well. So this is a significant push of cold air. It's not like it's just impacting one part of the country, but really the eastern half of the country is going to be feeling it, while there's a surge of warmer air, as you can see, out to the west. That's through Sunday and into Monday. This cold air is going to be with us. Now, the 8 to 14-day outlook is calling for the drier than normal conditions once again out to the west and across most of the central U.S. Here, slightly drier than normal, close to normal, but a little bit drier than normal here through the mid-Atlantic. So much of the country not worrying about a lot of excessive rainfall 8 to 14 days out. A little wetter than normal down to the south and up across the northern tier. As we take a look at our temperatures, here's again the big news, that below normal push of air really centered over the eastern half of the country and specifically the mid-Atlantic region. This is through December 11th. So we know the cold weather's coming. It's going to be above normal out west, but here in the east, it is going to be much colder. So that's the outlook through December 11th. Will this continue through the winter? Well, we're going to talk about that as we get into it here with the winter outlook. As for the 10-day forecast for Hampton Roads, we do have that chance for showers or storms on Thursday. I expect more sunshine heading into the weekend, but here's a look at those cold temperatures. Coldest days so far for Hampton Roads, specifically at Norfolk International, 39 degrees. That took place Monday morning. It also took place last Friday, and we're going to be colder than that Saturday morning. Expect a low of 32, so the coldest air of the season arrives as we go into Saturday morning, and it's going to stay chilly with those overnight lows in the upper 20s to near 30 as we go through Wednesday. We do recover a little bit into the mid to latter part of next week, but temperatures here still below average, and looking out, I think we'll see below average temperatures for a few days after that. So there's going to be this nice long stretch of chilly temperatures. Now to that winter weather outlook, and for the entire 3-month period, we're talking December, January, and February. I want to talk to you about the big considerations here. When we take a look at these extended outlooks, the Climate Prediction Center puts out these 90-day outlooks, and one of the keys that they're really focusing on is the fact that we have this weak La Nina that is forecast to continue through the winter. So models are suggesting there's a very good chance this weak La Nina will continue. Now, the La Nina is when we have abnormally cool water off the coast of Peru, and that sets global weather patterns kind of into different areas. We find different things kind of persist. Sometimes the jet stream will shift, one way or another. In this case, with the La Nina, looking back over the past several weak La Ninas, when we look at the winters, we typically see a little more snow over the northern U.S. So areas from, say, Minnesota all the way back through the northwest U.S., they could see a little bit more snow than normal. There's typically less snow expected a little farther south and for the southeast U.S. So I'll give you a couple examples as we take a look at the outlooks here. But in general, we tend to see snowier conditions to the north and less down to the south. Now, this is the temperature outlook. And again, you get this, okay? Below normal temperatures on average from Washington State across northern Montana and up into North Dakota. I have a sister and brother-in-law that live up in Whitefish. Absolutely breathtaking. Gorgeous, gorgeous property they have up there. It's wonderful. I can tell you it gets really cold up there. They're hardy people. They're up in Montana. They've got a ranch up there. It's gorgeous. So they can deal with it, but it is going to be as cold as it is up around Glacier National Park and some of the other areas up there. It is going to be likely below normal this winter with those temperatures. It's going to be warmer down across parts of the southwest, and here in the southeast we expect above normal temperatures as well, extending up to the mid-Atlantic, a likelihood of slightly above normal temperatures. Let's take a look at the precipitation, and here you go. As we look forward, you're going to find above average or wetter than normal conditions for the Great Lakes and over western parts of Montana. So here we're going, okay, wait, we've got below normal temperatures for this area and wetter than normal conditions up there. All right, remember I said a couple of locations. I was looking Minneapolis, that area, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Minneapolis during weak La Nina winters has on average about 12 inches of additional snow over their normal snow. So La Nina, weak La Nina tends to produce a little more snow, places like Minneapolis. I mentioned some other areas down here to the south, drier than normal conditions, and it's going to be warmer down here as well with the drier than normal conditions. Places out to the west, we were looking around Lynchburg in Virginia, tends to have below average snowfall, about 7 inches lower than a normal year in Lynchburg. So this is one of those areas, you talk about Roanoke, Lynchburg, some of these areas that maybe do get that snow during a normal year. With this particular setup, we will likely see less snow. So that's how things are looking based on the current thinking. Again, it's just an outlook. And one thing I do want to mention is that this doesn't mean you won't see any snow at all if you're in some of those areas that are less likely. It just means when you look back at kind of the typical way things have played out with this scenario, we see a little bit less than normal. So temperatures for Hampton Roads likely to be a little bit above average, precipitation likely to be near or below average, and team snow, those of you that absolutely love it, can't wait for the snow to fall, you may be a little frustrated yet again this year. I will mention though, again, you could have an isolated storm that brings down some cold air, and I don't care what the averages say, you can still average above normal temps and below average precip. But if you get hit with that one combination where you have a lot of moisture and there's a lot of cold air in place, you can still get significant snowfall. So don't drop your guard and continue to check back, and we'll let you know. But those are the general trends that we expect through the year. All right, we're going to take a look at the forecast here for Hampton Roads and what we can expect. Increasing clouds through this afternoon. As I mentioned, travel weather great for getting to grandma's house or wherever you may be headed. Maybe you've got family coming in. You're all in good shape today around Hampton Roads. Early tomorrow, showers come into play. Could see a few heavier downpours potentially. We'll be watching maybe a rumble or two of thunder. Can't rule that out. Around mid-morning and into the early afternoon, still some rain. Rainfall totals generally expected to be between 1/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch with that line coming through. Once the front passes, winds shift to the north. We'll see some clearing late. And I think if you've got plans to get out for Thanksgiving, maybe you're going to do your meal, say, mid-afternoon, something like that. By the evening, if you wanted to get out and get in a walk or get in some exercise, try to burn a few of those calories off, you should be okay. Winds will shift around. It's going to be a little gusty, and temperatures will cool. But the big push of cool air comes up over the weekend. So just know that's coming. Our Priority Automotive Sky View, let's take this full. You can get a good look at it. Again, downtown Norfolk, absolutely beautiful right now. We do have some high, thin clouds. And as we go along, we're going to find temperatures today topping out upper 50s to near 60 degrees around Chesapeake, 61 in Suffolk, 60 in Franklin. To the north, temperatures there in the mid-50s for the Eastern Shore, upper 50s for the peninsula, mid-50s for the Middle Peninsula. In northeast North Carolina, low 60s at the Outer Banks, low to mid-60s around Hertford and Edenton. Good-looking day here on this Wednesday for Hampton Roads. Tonight's low down around 50, mostly cloudy. Might see a shower late, but the better chances for occasional showers coming up tomorrow and maybe a stray storm or two in the mix. 7-day forecast brings in that colder air, as I mentioned. You'll see that coming up Friday into Saturday and Sunday. You look at those low temperatures. This is for Norfolk International, low 30s. That'll be the coldest air we've seen so far this season. Into early next week, upper 20s to near 30 at the coast, and it will be much chillier inland. So we want to let folks know about that. Something else I want to let you know about coming up, an event that is a lot of fun, and we're talking about the Holiday Lighted Boat Parade for Virginia Beach. I have the opportunity to MC that event. I think my wife is actually going to co-host it with me. I'm really excited about that. So come on out to Chick's Oyster Bar. That's at Vista Circle in Virginia Beach. Such a great time out there. Chick's Oyster Bar is a wonderful time. It's a lot of fun anytime you go out. But to get a chance to sit right there at the docks, this is December 7th at 5 p.m., and watch the boats come by, maybe enjoy your favorite beverage and some great food, and just partake in a lot of fun. The proceeds going to benefit Virginia Beach and their rescue squad. They do so much great work, and we want to thank everybody that's involved with that. Again, you can still register as well if you want to get out there. If you've got a boat and you're interested in doing it, they're going to take registration for that event up through the 2nd of December. So a little bit of time for you still to enter your boat if you'd like to be a part of that boat parade. Again, it's a great time, and I look forward to seeing everybody out there. 5 o'clock is when I'll be out there. So check that out. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us. You can follow me on social, on Facebook, search Craig Moeller, Instagram at Craig Moeller TV, and then X, 13 Craig Moeller. For all of you traveling and heading out for Thanksgiving, be safe. Have a wonderful holiday. We're going to take tomorrow off. We'll be back with more of these 13 News Now Weather Plus segments, these streaming episodes. And starting next week, we're going to start doing them at 9 a.m. live. And, of course, they're always available right here on the 13 News Now Plus app and on YouTube. A lot of times we stream these as well there. You can catch these episodes and learn more about the weather as we take a deeper dive. Have a happy Thanksgiving and stay safe out there.